Well, good morning. Last night, Harry put the drawings that we had done from our music and drawing live stream. He put them up for sale on the on a Big Cartel, a free Big Cartel site, so that anyone who would like to sort of buy the originals could buy them from the Big Cartel site. What we didn't realise is that because it's the free site, it doesn't delete the items as they are purchased. It's really a site for sort of selling multiples. So if you have a print or a set of badges, or something like that you want to sell in multiples, then of course the free site is fine. But if you're selling originals, one-off things, what happens is you end up selling the same thing over and over again. We realised within minutes that this was happening, so Harry took down the items, but by then we had already sold 21 pictures, of which there were only actually 5 originally for sale. So we posted it up. Those of you who are following this particular saga will have seen that we did post up a little notice, and I said that I'd be very happy to refund the money, or if you still wanted an original, I would also be happy to draw the variations of each of the drawings. Because it's a pleasurable thing to do for me personally. I enjoy the process of creating these drawings, but also I didn't want people to feel sort of disappointed. You've been kind enough to support what we're doing, and I really wanted to sort of repay that rather than frustrate people. So that's in fact what I did. I've just got momentarily distracted because the doorbell went downstairs, but that's by the by. I shall let the world carry on as I do this. So what I'm going to do is draw each of the pictures, and you see at the moment I'm doing a version of the sleeper, and there are 2 people who asked for the sleeper, so I shall draw this one more time. So if there are 3 sleepers sold, each will be a little bit different. I think that's the pleasure of it. You don't want an exact copy of something. That seems silly to me. So I'm just really free-forming and allowing this picture to be what it wants to be. It'll look similar, as you can see. There's a sort of similarity to the sort of figure, but it's not exactly the same. So each person will get an original. And the same for the other drawings. Here are the little thumbnails that I, excuse the shadow, here are the thumbnails that I did for each one. That's the cloak, and the sentinel, the seraphim, Leviathan, and sleep. So I do these little thumbnails before I start, so I have a rough idea of the composition and what I'm actually going to be doing as I draw live. And then Harry sort of plays for the requisite amount of time. We usually agree on about sort of 10 minutes, so we can fill the hour with plenty of drawing of different sorts. And I think it's going to develop as we do more concerts. There could be one where I just develop a single picture over the period of, or maybe there could be one where we do one very quick picture and then a couple of slower ones. We'll vary it. We'll see how it goes. It's still very much work in progress, and any feedback you can give us is much appreciated, as is your continuing support, which I've got to say is just so heartwarming. So I thank you all. And I hope that by offering these drawings that you will feel, in some sense, that your kindness is being repaid, just in a small measure. Again, I've been thinking sort of about Patreon as a model for funding both creative projects, particular creative projects, and also maybe the one's creative work in a more general sense. And it really has got some unique and I think very special qualities to it as a platform. I mean, quite rightly, I think it's described as a community, and I think there is a sense of community that builds. I've certainly felt that week on week, the feeling that, in a sense, each morning when I sit and draw something, I have an imaginary audience in my mind, and I find that actually quite energizing. It's a rather nice motivation, I think, to produce things. Also, it doesn't feel in any way sort of pressured. You know, it feels altogether as if I can spend my time just expressing myself in any way that occurs to me day on day, and lots of different things occur to me, I suppose, each day. You know, sometimes I wake up and think, I really want to draw a grizzly bear today, or I wake up and I think, right, landscapes, I want to draw imaginary landscapes. You know, each day there's another little thing that sort of crops up, and actually having a Patreon page and having all of you show an interest is a lovely sort of motivation, but also there's a sort of lovely sense that this is not a grand scheme. It's not, there's no epic endeavour going on here. This is the stuff of my sort of daily artistic life. And that feels nice. It's as if I'm sharing a studio with all of you, and you're making a cup of coffee and looking over my shoulder from time to time, and we're sort of having a chat. I mean, admittedly a rather one-sided chat, but certainly when Katie and I sit down together, that evens it out a little bit. And I also felt with the live streaming Q&A, there was a lovely connection in real time that was happening. And I've done a lot of Q&As of that sort, both in front of live audiences at festivals, in schools when I've done events and invited questions, and a lot of Q&As virtually using Zoom in exactly the same way as we did the other day. And there is never enough time to ask questions, because to answer all the questions. You take one or two, and you know, you're lucky if you get through maybe 3 or 4 within the allotted time, and so people are always really not necessarily being responded to on an individual basis. The thing I loved about the other day with the live stream was that we got to answer, I think, every question. If we didn't, I apologise, because we might have missed just 1 or 2 in the thread. But I think pretty much, I think we managed to get round everyone who had asked a question, and that just felt really satisfying in a way that I've never had that at any similar event that I've done. And I think that's because there is a scale to what we're doing here. It's not huge, it's not unwieldy. It does feel like I think a rather nice, I want to say exclusive club, but you know what I mean. It's a, you know, self-selecting group of you who enjoy watching what I do and my drawing, and maybe to a certain extent, my conversation. And so it's not unwieldy. It's just right. It's rather fabulous to be able to sort of make those one-to-one connections. And I also enjoyed hearing from all of you who I have made contact with or run into in other places, at festivals and in school visits, and sometimes just over social media when you've said something kind about a book you've read in childhood that happens to be one of mine, and we've been able to sort of have an interchange where I can send you a drawing and we can talk about Mr. Munro or the Edge Chronicles or Bandabears, and it's so nice to see you here on the Patreon platform, taking part in what we're doing here, and that I find immensely gratifying. So I hope this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship, as they say in Casablanca, the movie. I mean, not the North African city. That will go on through this year, and I hope into next year, because there are very specific projects that I'm going to be working on going forward. Exciting projects of my own, you know, originating things that I would love to tell you all about, tell the community of patrons here on Patreon, talk to you about it, you know, show you what I'm doing before the world finds out about it. So I hope you will enjoy maybe sort of finding out a little bit more about some of the upcoming projects. There are card games, there are collections of political cartoons, there are small self-published novellas, and there are things as yet unspecified that are in the pipeline that I'm just beginning to talk about. I think at some stage what I would love to do maybe is a graphic novel. And that I know is a big endeavour and might take an awful lot of work, but it's something that, I don't know, it seems to me a lovely thing to do, because it's so broad as a medium. You know, one can go almost any way you like with it. It doesn't necessarily have the constraints of the world of children's books, although that in itself is a world I also really enjoy, and it's going to be fun talking to you about children's books. What I'd like to do is maybe read you some extracts from the book the children's book I'm working on at the moment, which is a middle grade novel, a follow-up to the Guardians of Magic, the first of the Cloudhorse Chronicles. I've written the second, which is called Tiggy, Thistle and the Lost Guardians, and I'd love to read you a couple of sort of passages from that, again, sort of exclusively before the world finds out about it. So lots to look forward to for me personally, and I hope for those of you who want to come on this journey with me and Katie and Harry, and discover the sort of things that one can do in a creative space going forwards. And I hope also that that those of you who haven't had a chance to acquire a sketch or a doodle or a drawing of some sort will get as the months go past, and we have our monthly draw, you know, sort of live stream prize draw, that you will maybe acquire a drawing or sketch that will maybe go on to hang in your downstairs loo, or wherever these things go. Maybe a nice corner of a reading room next to a bookcase, something like that. I think I like the idea of these drawings going to good homes. So that's the first of the series of sleepers. There will be one more, and then I'll move on to the others, and hopefully these will all be in the post to my very generous patrons by the end of the week.